just got our first look at it, so here's my thoughts on episode 3. Now diving right in, we gotta talk about that flashback into 1908 because it's clear that this is where It got his inspiration for Pennywise the Clown, which was absolutely terrifying. Not to mention, it's also worth noting that we got an introduction into the character Francis, which, hold up, does he look familiar? But I digress. Also, did you guys see Andy Muschietti? Because that was an amazing cameo. Episode 3 is titled Now You See It, which is a little misleading considering we only got a glimpse of him, but I think it's honestly alluding to the undertones and themes that this episode is all about, that people only believe what they see. Now, personally, I loved how they played with this idea, and while this may be my least favorite episode of the series, I gotta tell you guys, I'm enjoying all of the nuggets of lore. I gotta tell you guys that I absolutely loved all the team-ups this episode, specifically with Lily and Ronnie putting their differences aside to try to prove that he's real, but also them dragging along Will and Rich for the ride. Let's talk about Dick Halloran and Leroy's adventure to try to find Pennywise, because it had me on edge, quite literally. Now, considering this is the first glimpse that we really have at Pennywise the Clown, it's super interesting how now Dick Halloran is facing his own powers against him. I also think that the usage of a slingshot is great because we continue to go back and forth between 1908, and of course the great reveal of who the kid was. Francis is General Shaw, and this makes sense why he has such a personal connection to finding where the whereabouts of It is. Lastly, we gotta talk about the cemetery scene because nothing says bonding like a ritual. And of course things went wrong, because why would they go right? And speaking of which, I don't think Pennywise is ever gonna let Teddy and Susie rest in peace, because at this point, this is his main puppets to torment the kids. I double-taked a few times because for a second, I thought Vecna was hunting the kids and not Pennywise. It felt very Stranger Things coded, but obviously this came first, and so I'll give Stephen King his praise. I gotta tell you guys, I thought we were gonna have another Will Byers situation, because I thought Will was a goner for sure, but he snapped a photo and dipped, and after they developed the photos, the way this episode ended gave me absolute goosebumps. That last frame was so creepy. So let me know your guys' thoughts on episode 3, and are you guys excited for next week?